Hi there. I'd like to talk a little bit about why I'm so passionate about helping you get the next generation ready to speak. So, several years ago, my family was traveling and visited a Christian fellowship with some friends. There was a team group that had just gone on a missions trip, and they had a representative of the missionary team speaking that morning about his experience to give his testimony. So he's on the stage with a microphone, and his talk went something like this: Dude, like, it was like totally, and stuff like, I mean, the girls, whoa. And then like we threw this pie in the counselor's face, man, like I'd go back for it was awesome, like, dude. I remember there was an elderly couple sitting in right in front of us, and she leaned over to her husband and said in a loud whisper that we could hear, he's just young. Someday he'll grow up. He's just young. I remember thinking, wow, we don't expect much of the next generation. We don't expect much of youth today, do we? And that wasn't always true. And that's one of the reasons I'm so passionate about getting the next generation ready to speak, because there are so many opportunities for them to make a difference. So uh, I think we have a great example. We have lots of great examples in the scriptures, but one great example that comes to us is Timothy. I like to think about Timothy as possibly the first young pastor in one of the first mega churches in the world, right? So he has this huge church. He's very young when he steps into it, and he has this mentor, Paul, who many scholars think that Paul was mentoring Timothy from the time he was a teenager, just like this young man that spoke in that church. And one of the things that's happening for Timothy is something that I think happens for us today. And that is there are older, respected leaders and teachers in the church who are spreading false doctrine, whose teaching is being followed because eldership, older people were valued for their insight and wisdom, and yet they were wrong. They were off base. And so Paul writes a letter to Timothy, and in a memorable place in the letter, in 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 12, he says this: Timothy, don't let anyone look down on you because you're young, but set an example for the believers in your speech, life, love, faith, and purity. Now, if I'm Paul, I'm probably thinking, like, set the record straight, Tim. Like, you know the right answers, they have the wrong answers, set the record straight for everybody. But instead, Paul says to Timothy, set an example with your speech first, with your life, with how you love, with your faith, with your purity. We can set an example with speech. The next generation can set an example in their speech. We want them ready to speak. If you